and you may think, what on earth, she's bonkers. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to share with you my eyeshadow palettes, my eyeshadow quads, all eyeshadows in my makeup collection. This was a request from somebody after my recent video, my small declutter video, where I showed my makeup collection, and somebody suggested, well, wanted to see what I actually had in my current makeup collection. So what I'm doing is I'm doing two videos. Today is all about eyeshadows, and then I will follow up with another video with everything else. So if you would like to see what eyeshadows I have in my makeup collection, please keep watching. Hi guys, thanks for joining me and welcome to my channel, Angela Stewart Beauty. My name is Ange and I like to share my experiences in all things beauty and lifestyle as I navigate my more mature years. If that sounds like you and you would like to see more videos aimed at the over 50 woman, please consider subscribing by clicking on that subscribe button down below. I would love to see you back. I would also suggest that you click on the notification bell so that YouTube lets you know each time I upload a new video. I'd just like to say thank you for taking time out of your day, both new visitors and my wonderful existing subscribers. Thank you so much for coming back. I just appreciate you taking time out of your day to join me. Okay, so recently I filmed a small declutter of items out of my makeup collection because I do like to try and keep my collection fairly well curated. Now yes, I do have a heck of a lot more than your average person, but I love makeup, it brings me joy, and of course I have my YouTube channel. So today we're going through my eyeshadow collection and I'm going to go box by box as I showed you in that video. First box, I will start off with what's sticking up. I have Marc Jacobs. I love these iconic eyeshadow palettes. They are beautiful. I must admit these are the only two that I have and I do use them. I love the colours. Now this one here is Glambition. Very neutral, beautiful. The shadows are fantastic quality and I really enjoy that for a very neutral makeup look. And I have Scandalust, which is just a little bit warmer, a little bit more sultry, and is perfect for an evening look. Then I have a few Natasha Denona mini palettes, and I absolutely love these palettes, and I think they are a fantastic way to purchase a luxury brand at an affordable price to try out her shadows. They're $25 for the mini sizes. I have 4 of them, love all 4. I think the quality of each of them that I have are superb. So the first palette I have here is the mini nude palette. As it said, beautiful nude shades, but this is stunning. Leads more on the neutral warm, absolutely love it. The next one I have is the mini Glam. I love this. This is awesome for day or nighttime looks. This one I love, it's so different. I just love this for its difference in the colours. I love the fun colours. I'm looking forward to using this in the summer. And this is the mini retro palette. And another one that I got recently, this has been out for quite some time, but we just got it recently at Sephora New Zealand, and this is the mini Star palette. This is a tasting of the Star palette, which is like super expensive. It's nearly $400 here in New Zealand. So to have just a tasting is enough to whet my appetite, and I love this as well. It's just, you know, lucky that I like to wear eyeshadows on a regular basis, because there's just not enough days in a week to get through these all. Then I have a larger 5-pan palette from Natasha de Nona, and this is the Camel Palette. So you can see the size difference between the mini and her standard 5-pan palette. So these are $48 each, and there's quite a variety of different colorways that you can get in these. Once again, I'm a neutrals girl, so I went for the Camel palette, and this is a really lovely palette as well. Just a little bit bigger, and you know, $25, $48. I have 3 Pat McGrath palettes. I love these, but I love would love to have more of them. Absolutely I would, but I am very discerning on which Pat McGrath palettes I purchase. There is one more that if it was ever on sale I would get, and it is Mothership number 2. I don't have that, but they are very, very pricey. These retail for $125 US, so of course around $250 here in New Zealand. Beautifully, luxuriously packaged, just luxurious is just the way to explain it. They have a beveled mirror on the inside, and then you have the beauty that is within. So this is the Midnight Sun Mothership 6. I love this palette. You get 6 shades that you can sort of mattes and shimmers, and they're just stunning. So pigmented, beautiful, just the richness of these shades are beautiful for fall and winter. And then in the Mothership palettes you get 4 Astral Blitz shades, which are known as Pat McGrath's special shades. Now these are these 4 here. My favourite by far out of all of my Pat McGrath palettes is this beautiful periwinkle blue here. Looking forward to getting tons of use with this in the summer as well, and this colour I can't wait to use in the summer months. Then we have Mothership 5, and this is a Bronze Seduction. I am just really drawn to these beautiful, warm, muted but rich shades in this palette, and then you have your Astral shades out here. I must admit I get more use out of the 6 here, but it is absolutely brilliant to be able to play with these awesome special shades as well. And then my last Mothership palette that I have is probably my one that I reach for the most. This actually I found was the most controversial. Not controversial, people either loved it or didn't like it, and that's the Mothership 7 in Divine Rose. These colours here I can wear on a daily basis. The Astral shades are just, they're actually I feel more toned down than other Mothership palettes, but these shades here are just divine and are beautiful everyday wearable shades in my opinion. I love them. And I didn't opt for the Divine Rose 2. It was just a little bit too, this is everyday. I can justify this because I can wear these to work. It's not just a special occasion palette, and I appreciate the fact that I can get my neutral wear out of this palette as well. So I left the Mothership Divine Rose 2 out of my collection. One of my colourful palettes, I do not have very many colourful palettes. You are going to see a lot of repetition in my eyeshadow palettes. I am a neutrals girl. I gravitate to my neutrals because I know I'm going to wear them. Anytime I venture outside of neutrals and go for something that's a little bit too loud or a little bit too colourful, I am not going to get the use out of it, and it's a waste of money, and nobody has money that's surplus that we can waste on things that we're not going to use. So I do have a lot of repetitive colours, and you may think what on earth, she's bonkers, but I do use them, and I am with a couple of palettes that are coming up. I do hold on to them. I still use them even if they're outside of their recommended date. If they don't irritate my eyes, I'm quite happy to use them. One of the colourful palettes that I have is from Urban Decay. It's the Born to Run palette, and there are lots of beautiful, wonderful, rich, warm and colourful shades in here. I love the sturdiness of this palette. I haven't delved into the bright shades here. I really do feel bright shades are a little bit like a bright red lipstick to me. I feel like my eyeballs reach the room 5 minutes before me if they're too bright. I feel like I'm going, wow, wow, look at me. And I feel if I wear anything too bright, I think that's when I tend to look like an old lady, or look like an older woman trying too hard. So I personally, for me and my colouring and my aesthetic, stick to more of the muted shades. I can wear colour, but I prefer the muted shades, but my neutrals are a go-to. So needless to say, my favourite corner is down here. I love these greens, and that teal here is just phenomenal, just beautiful. And so that's where I go when I'm wanting a pop of colour. Anastasia Beverly Hills. I love Anastasia palettes. We have the Sultry Palette. This is an awesome palette with lots of very nice metallic shades in here. I tend to wear this more as an evening palette rather than a daytime palette, but I do love it nevertheless. One of those older palettes that I was talking about is an Anastasia palette, and I just love this. I probably should wear this more often, and it is the Mario palette. The shades in here are just phenomenal. Absolutely love this beautiful fall winter palette. Another palette that's just a little bit more colourful. You might go, that's not colourful, but to me it is the Jackie Einer palette. This has a really cool palette. I love the depth of the shades in here. Now yes, this is where I'm I don't know how to get this across. They are brighter colours, or that they've got pops of colour, but they're more muted. They're not like bright, and I feel that when they are more of that muted colourful shade, I can carry it off a lot more. So I really enjoy this palette. I think this was a fabulous collaboration, and really love that palette. A palette I probably don't use as much as the others is the Norvina palette. There is definitely lots of shades in here that you can create a neutral look. See, here's this drama, that's that muted look again, and there are lots of neutral shades in here that I can go to as well. And yet, funnily enough, the shade I gravitate to the most when I use this palette is this shade here, Soul. Modern Renaissance. This is another beauty and well-loved palette from Anastasia. I love the neutrals in here more than the brights, so I'm not really, I don't gravitate towards this bright shade here, or Love Letter, or even this one here, but all the other shades are definitely shades that I use regularly. I know it doesn't look like it, but it's because I do have so many. And Soft Glam would have to be one of my favourite Anastasia palettes. It is stunning, rich, sophisticated, beautiful, absolutely love it. A collaboration, this one I really love because it's different. And this was the Kali Bible palette. Now, a lot of people didn't like the packaging, but I actually liked it for a change. I'm not a fan of the velour packaging. It just gets grubby. I don't think it's classy looking. Not a fan, but it's not what the packaging is, it's what's inside. Absolutely did really like this packaging. I think it's quite girly and lovely, but I do love the shades in this. They're different. They are great spring colours. So as we're coming into, we're in spring, heading towards summer, this is going to be a palette that I reach for a lot, and I really love these shades up here. Too Faced, the Born This Way, the Natural Nudes. If you are wanting a really easy neutral palette for an everyday look, this is great. I love the fact that you have lots of mattes in here. They're bigger pan sort of sizes than the shimmers, but you have complementary shimmers to go with that. And I love the warm browns, the rosy tones, and this is a palette that I just love grabbing for a simple, easy, everyday look. I am really tempted to get the latest version of this, but I'm not going to. But this is the Too Faced Gingerbread palette, and I love the shades in here. This is definitely a warm fall winter palette for me. Definitely not a gumdrop girl, but all the other shades are definitely up my alley. Spiced rum, love this sort of shade down here. This aubergine colour, just beautiful. So I do really like this. I have been tempted with the latest pumpkin palette, but I don't think I need it, and I am being really strong with new purchases at the moment and passing on so many. I will show you one in a minute of a new one that I have just got. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes, but I'm trying so hard to just pass on most of the new makeup releases. I want to make use of what I have. A palette that I have done a couple of looks in videos with this, and it's by Couture. This was the first product that I ever bought by this brand, and this palette is stunning. Now, when my Mario palette does start giving me grief when it comes to the fact that it is getting on in time, I feel I can get some looks out of this Supreme Nudes palette anyway. The only shades that I will be missing out of here is like this green that I've dipped into a wee bit. I love the greens that are in here. But this Supreme Nudes palette is just such a rich, beautiful, fantastic quality in the shadows. I really enjoy this, and really pleased that I got that. It's not a brand we can get in New Zealand, but they had fantastic shipping. They were extremely quick, and even with COVID, I was really impressed that that arrived so quickly. Another one of my colourful palettes is this Fenty palette, and I do really like this if I'm wanting a pop of colour. They are just up my alley, but a little bit more different to my absolute neutral palettes that I have. And then my most colourful palette, and it's not colourful to a lot of people's sort of standards, but for me this is my most colourful palette, and it is the Colourpop So Jaded palette. And this was a collaboration with Kathleen Lights, and I just think Kathleen Lights is an adorable young lady. But the shades in here are where I have my fun, and I really do love the shades in here. Now, the new addition to my collection is what I'm wearing on my eyes, and it is the Natasha Nona Glam palette. I love it. I've only opened it up and played with it today, but this is, I feel, going to become a favourite for me. So really love this. $65 for that size palette. I have two more. I have the Sunrise palette. And what is good about these I like is because they have little holes in the back, and you can switcheroo the shades around and swap them around, except that you've got the name of the shades here. But if you're wanting to play with them and mix and match your palettes, you can. And then the other palette I have in that size is the Bronze palette. This palette is up to standard with all of the other Natasha Nona palettes that I have. I really like this palette, and looking at it, it is stunning. Really beautiful. My favourite shades are these two in the corner here, Deep Dive and Rhodium. I did find when I did a few looks with this that these coppery warm shades gave me very, very similar vibes. And I think if it wasn't for these two shades in here, it would not have been a palette that I held on to. These two shades here give it some life outside of its coppery orange vibe. So it is lovely, it's great quality. Thank goodness for those two shades though, in my opinion. And now that I've said that, I actually might play with my Sunrise palette a little bit more, and this could be a palette maybe I moved on. Not sure, because I really love these shades here. Those 6 there are right up my alley for spring soft looks. And probably Jasper and Glory are 2 colours I would probably exit out of there. So I suppose if there's only 2, I would exit out of there. Maybe I'll hold on to it. Then I have 2 larger palettes from Natasha Nona. The Bieber palette. Love this. Now this is where I say you are spending $65 for this, for 15 shades. Yes, they're smaller pans. But I'll never hit pan on these. I know I won't, because I have so many palettes. Then this is 15 shades, but they're bigger, and this palette is $129 US. So price wise, I love the other option. I love this palette. This is a superb, right up my alley neutral palette. The black kept falling out and I ended up just dumping it in the end because it was really frustrating and it was making a mess in my palette. So that's a bit disappointing for a $129 US valued palette. But living in New Zealand and the cost of shipping it back, it would probably cost me about $30 to ship it back. I can't, it just wasn't worth it for the sake of a black shadow. If it was one of the others, I might have rethought that, but black, I just held on to it. But I love, love, love that palette. And one of my favourite palettes is the Leela palette. I love this. This is just different to any other palette that I own. I love it. It looks bright. I think that's the only colour I've never used. But you'd be surprised about like the neutralness in some of this as well. Is just, you know, these 3 here are so neutral. I can really get beautiful, rich, neutral shade eye looks out of this palette, and I absolutely love it. It's just different. Really enjoy that. Okay, so that was box number 1. Now we're into box number 2. Whew, starting at the front. Okay, we have the Tarte Kkw the Confetti eyeshadow palette. This is a very pretty eyeshadow palette for everyday, neutral, pinky. It's just pretty, and it was rather affordable from memory, so quite like that. And it's very similar to a palette that I absolutely love, but it's getting ready for me to ditch, is the Becca Jaclyn Hill eyeshadow palette. There was a lot of drama over this palette with a lot of people complaining about the quality. I have not had any issues with the quality. I really like these shadows and I reached for this for a no-brainer look and really happy with that. An eyeshadow palette I may move on to my daughter for neutral palette for her is the Makeup Geek in the Nude palette. Now I brought this under the recommendation of Angie Hot and Flashy. It is a lovely, lovely palette, but I have these shadows repeated in other palettes that I reach for. Nothing wrong with it. Love, 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 love all the shadows in here, except that I don't grab for it. There's other palettes that are similar that I reach for first. So I may give that to my daughter because I'm sure it is something that she'd really appreciate in her makeup collection. A palette by Tarte. I really love this. This is the Clay Play Face Shaping palette, and it has bronzes and contour shades, and it's, sorry that it's so bright and in your face with the ring light there, but really neutral, all matte. Love it, love it, love it. Haven't used it much, but when I do, I really enjoy that. I love these palettes and I cannot wait for the next one to be available for New Zealand. I am not into the drama of this whole 24-hour launch rubbish, and I'm going to call it rubbish because I'm not into that. I'm on the other side of the world. I can't be bothered waiting all night and trying to get a palette when it's going to be re-released anyway. So I'm going to be late to the game with a review for that, guys. But when the Charlotte Tilbury latest 12 pan palette comes out, I will order it when I can get it from Beautylish, and I will do a review. It's just going to be really late, but that's just the way it is. So I love these 12 pan palettes by Charlotte Tilbury. This one here is the Stars in Your Eyes palette, and I just love the way she sets them out. They are 4 lots of trios, but I mix and match them any which way. This is more of a pinky toned palette. Absolutely love it. So feminine, so romantic, and I love the quality of Charlotte Tilbury. This is the original one I got, called the Instant Eye palette, and these are the neutral shades that I reach for all the time. Love them. They're great workday looks. Love all the looks. I'm not a black eyeshadow girl. I prefer a deep brown rather than black. I just don't reach for black, so that's about the only shade in there that I haven't touched, but I love that palette. And then I really enjoyed the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize. There is a video coming with another look using this palette very soon. I have done one a long time ago and I used the greens and absolutely loved it. So I'm going to do another look using this coming up soon. It was a requested look, and I like this because it's not all one tone of the same shade. Like these were all neutrals, really neutrals. This was more on the pinky tone, and here we've got our sort of browny, pinky, greeny, blue, and I just think I loved it for that. I am really impressed with the Kkw Beauty eyeshadows. I love the quality of them. I know a lot of people don't like Kkw Beauty. I've never bought anything from the Kylie range, but these Kkw Beauty shadows are beautiful. This is the Classic palette, very warm, beautiful shades though. Absolutely love the quality, the blendability. They're smooth, they are easy to blend, and I really like them. And I think from memory these are $45 US. An old palette that I have, but I really love it, but it's probably getting close to me probably not using it. This is the ultimate for me in neutral shades, and it's by Bare Essentials, and this is, I think it was the Wish palette, but these come out around Christmas time. They normally do a Christmas special. This is a few years old, but I love this neutral palette. It's just stunning. Really pretty, and that's what I mean by I reach for something like this as opposed to my Makeup Geek one. So it's just that's why I'm not saying it's a bad palette. I just reach for other items. Now in my declutter video, I decluttered most of my Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. I kept one, and that was the Smoky Obsessions. Why? Because it's neutral. This is definitely an evening palette for me. I do gravitate to this in the evening. The silver in here, if you are after a silver shadow, she's your girl, that one there. And so love that palette for that drama. We're getting there. Okay, after editing this video, I have realised that it was an hour long, and I'm sure no one really wants to sit through an hour of a eyeshadow collection. So I've split this video into two parts, and this is part 1 and part 2 will be up in a few days. If you did enjoy that, please give it a thumbs up. Do leave me comments down below. Yes, I have a lot of neutrals. I love my neutrals. I do hope you will subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button down below if you haven't already. I am going to upload another video that will take you through the balance of my collection if you are happy to sit through that. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. I hope you've all had a beautiful and a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. See you later, guys. Bye.